But yeah, this is Idris Elba for people that are listening in the audio. Crazy achievement for us, to be honest. I just want to say thank you so much for coming down and coming out to the podcast, man.
No, thanks for having me.
But I just want to talk quickly about first meeting Idris. Now, Philly, I don't know if I told you the story, but
no.
Do you remember or no?
Nope.
Okay, so let me tell you, Idris, because I remember.
No shade though. I just don't remember when we first met.
It was Soccer Aid.
Oh no, we met before that. We met before that. We did meet before Soccer Aid.
So I'm the idiot then.
I think we met with Maya. Was hanging out. And one time we was at a party.
Oh, yeah, but that was like, I'm talking more just on a conversation. Because last time when I saw you with Maya, I think it was just kind of like in passing. I was like, why are you doing UK? You know what I mean? But I think from the first time like actually having dialogue was at Soccer Aid. And it was nuts because I was just like flipping out. I've been watching Sky forever, and it's kind of like he knows who I am, you know?
Yeah.
Which is crazy, surreal feeling, genuinely, man. And he actually spoke to me in Somali.
You speak Somali?
Well, no, two.
No, one and bits and pieces.
Yes, because the missus is from
Somali.
She's Somali.
Yeah, come on, bro.
But don't ask me to speak today.
Give me a word.
Only thing I can say is like I love you. So that's a bit.
How do you say that?
Uncle Chakla.
Yeah.
Uncle Chakla.
That's what he said.
That's amazing.
You don't know, my brother. Come on, man. That's my people.
Is it?
Come on, man.
I didn't know that.
But generally, remember meeting him and I was thinking, this is surreal. I went back to the ends and I told all the man and everyone was like, bro, you crazy? That's nuts. Because obviously everyone watches The Wire and everyone watched it growing up. So it was kind of like a surreal moment for me. But what about you, Philly?
I actually don't know.
How did you feel meeting me?
No, I felt good meeting you. It was, now, you know what's funny? Because you're hilarious and, you know, a big personality. And
Thank you, man.
Watching you. And then I didn't realise like how serious you are as a sportsman. Like,
he loves it.
He's not joking. You know?
Yeah.
All that fun and when it's football.
You see?
Rah, in training, I was like,
I'm running up and down. Like, I'm really trying my best, bro.
That's one thing with you. You're mad fit.
Yeah.
You're mad fit.
He's a great player, but he's one of those players, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, yo!
Passionate. Wants to win.
Bro. I want to win.
Yeah.
That's what I'm here for.
How I met Idris, I actually don't remember. All I know is that I must have seen him somewhere, showed him mad love, because ever since then we just see each other and it's just hella respect between the both of us.
I feel like one time we was at a club somewhere and
I remember that night.
Yeah.
Like it was yesterday.
I was like, yo. He was like, yo. I was like, who's that?
You know that night I was on a date, innit?
That's right. I think you even told me.
I enjoyed the date so much that I said, yo, we're going out. I've gone out. I've seen Idris in there with his missus. I said, yo. It was sick still.
I remember that. You were sitting over there. I remember.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
But let's get into the serious stuff. So I've recently seen that you've dropped a song and the whole basis of the song was to promote knife crime. I feel like the first question I want to ask based on me seeing that is why did you do that?
Okay, so firstly, just to say, it was it's a campaign.
Nice.
Don't Stop Your Future is a campaign against knife crime, anti-knife crime, and the campaign is designed to sort of basically raise as much awareness about this, what I think is a crisis. You know what I mean? There's a lot of people getting hurt, murdered, and getting sent to jail over knife crime. Okay, and I just feel like there's been this sort of like blinkered approach to how we approach it as a society. It feels like we just like, oh, it's not really my problem. Oh, it's not really my problem. Oh, that's really tragic when we see it on the news, but no one's really doing a collective effort to sort of stamp it out. So I decided I'm going to try and use the platform. I've had Don't Stab Your Future for a long time. It's called Don't Stop Your Future, but originally it was called Don't Stab Your Future. And I've had it for about 3 or 4 years. And I decided that, you know what, I'm going to try and make a bigger push in 2024 because I'm just tired of seeing young people just getting murdered, seeing young people that really holding on to knives, not because they want to, but because it's protection, or because, you know, they're in a gang and that's their only family, or they haven't got any sort of like, like a mentor to look up to help them navigate through a young life, right? So they carry this knife, it's part of their protection method, and they either end up dead, hurt badly, or in jail for a long time. And it's kind of like pointless, it's senseless.
But why was that so, like, I'm so actually interested. Why was that important to you? Like, was it someone maybe close to you that got hurt? Like, you were sitting in your house, and why did the thought and the feeling come to you? Like, why is it so important for Idris?
You know what it is? Because I'm a parent. I've got 3 kids, you know what I mean, 2 sons and a daughter. And whenever I see parents that have to bury their children because of something so senseless, as a parent, not as an actor or any activist, just as a parent, my heart bleeds. This is like, boy, you're not supposed to bury your children. They're meant to bury you. So first and foremost, before anyone has anything to say to me, it's the reason I'm on this so hard is because I have a kid and I want him to live. I want his future to be secure. I don't want him to get into a mad beef because our society has decided to just overlook that you can get a knife online and just get into it really quickly. So that's my first thing. Secondly, I really do feel that when I was younger, I'm like 51 now, yeah? When I was
you look amazing.
Oh, thank you very much for saying that, man. That's cool, man. Thank you very much.
Look amazing.
No, but when I was younger, like I grew up in East London, Hackney, Canning Town. Both those areas are areas where, you know, the community was either black or brown or poor, right? And a bit of all of it. And in those communities, we've seen crime and violence, obviously. And I had a fork in the road a few times where it was either go this way or end up down that route. And two things saved me. One, music, right? Being a DJ. My uncle was a DJ. My cousin's dad, who's there, my late uncle, he was the one that got us into DJing early. He was like, nah, you're not going out to play football. Come with me to lift boxes. And I was like, well, I don't want to lift boxes. But ended up loving it.
Yeah.
So I would go out with him and DJ. The other fork in the road was when I was sort of about 14 years old. I went to a boys' school in Canning Town. And Canning Town at the time was a National Front area. National Front was a sort of right-wing organisation, just wanted black and brown people out. And in that area, I used to face it all the time, walking down the street. People were like, oi, come here, you this, hey, come here, that. You know what I mean? And you're getting chased and you're running for your life and then, or you're getting into scuffles. And them times, the knife crime wasn't as big as it was, but people carried knives. And that fork in the road for me was my drama teacher saying, you're really good at acting, you know? Why don't you come to the extra classes? Boy. And you go to a boys' school and everyone's playing football outside or going on after school to do something and you're going to drama class. That was a definite, you know, moment for me.
Yeah, just very quickly, I had a debate once with Harry Pinero and I've always believed you have a choice. Like you specifically said there was two paths you could have gone down, but you chose to make the other choice. Do you, both of you, it's a question for you, Chunks and Idris, do you feel like you have a choice or do you feel like your environment really pushes you to that sort of lifestyle?
I think it's a mix of both, in my opinion. I feel like it's very case by case because there are a lot of situations, for example, like a lot of cases that there are, I'm just an example, of course, like there's a kid in his area, his mum's a single mother, she's struggling with the finances, etc. And he feels like he has to, this is his only option as a 16-year-old male, that he has to now do X, Y, and Z. It might be illegal, of course, to provide for his own family. Of course, when it comes to law, it's not right what he's doing. But on a humane and morality kind of basis, it's kind of like you have more understanding. And because of the fact that we are from the same upbringing as these kind of guys, we have more understanding to it compared to somebody else, you know? So I feel like, of course, you have a choice, but then it's also like you can be pushed into a corner. You know what I mean? Yeah. I don't agree that you should ever be killing anybody. I don't think you ever should do that. You know what I mean? There's always a justice system for it. But I feel like in terms of, which is probably coming off the angle a bit of knife crime, it's more just like, just crime in general. I do have more of an understanding because of the fact that I had that choice, and I just, because I had friends that had that, you know what I mean, that upbringing, but I decided to just steer left because I was scared of my parents, if I'm honest, you know what I mean? And I was like, I don't want to like make them sad, basically. I never want to see my mum cry.
Interesting, because you mentioned your uncle. So then where does it, basically what I'm trying to ask, lads, is where does it stem from?
It's that nature, it's that age-old question of nature and nurture, you know what I mean? I think it's like, it's all substantial, it's all circumstantial, it's all case by case, subjective. So I will never stand here and think, you shouldn't have done that, or you shouldn't have done this. Instead, you should have, bro, we don't know what opportunities they had growing up.
Also, I feel like the thing about raising awareness, right, it's not just about saying, oh, you've got a choice. It's just making you see that where I thought I had this way or that way, I probably had this way and that way and that way.
But when you're younger, you can't see that scope.
You're just focused on them.
Yeah.
So that young man that he's talking about, that's like, yo, I've got to feed my family. My mum's struggling. Boy, if I shank a man, I'll get that watch. I'm going to give her 2 bags.
Yeah.
That isn't the only choice he's got. But at the junction that he is, from his limited perspective, like I said, blinkers.
Yes.
That's all he can see.
Yep.
And I understand that. You know what I mean? Especially when you come from a poor community. You know what I mean? Where you know what I mean? Like, you just haven't got that abundance of choices coming your way. It's not like people are coming up to you and be like, hey, son, do you want a job? I'll give it. No, it's not like that.
And the social media even made it even worse now.
And social media
because people have to live up to some certain expectation and a standard that's not realistic. You know what I mean? Everybody's got designers and watches and online, and then all their favorite rappers talking about Lamborghinis, etc. And it's kind of like, well, I want that. And I want it now, you know what I mean? So it just gives them unnecessary pressure. And I feel like, of course, social media's only gotten bigger. So I feel like that has a reason maybe as to why the knife crime's even gone bigger. Because we were speaking off camera quickly, and Philly mentioned the fact that he thought that it was going down. Because obviously,
I thought it was worse.
Yeah, you said, oh, it was worse growing up. And statistically, I could be incorrect, or maybe you could provide some insight. But I feel like it's gone worse as the time's gone on, and maybe you wouldn't obviously be aware of it because it's not your surroundings anymore. And we're now 27, 28, you know what I mean? 51, looking lovely. So it's like, that's probably the reason as to why we feel like it's not as there.
Yeah, your perspective changes. To your point, like, knife crime has always seen waves, ups and downs, okay? And we're in a down, as in there's more happening right now, and it's spreading across the nation, where London had a fever pitch at one point. Now the fever pitch is in the Midlands.
Yo, I thought it was just London that was mad.
No. And that's a big misconception. I think the media has a lot to do with this, is that it is always described as a London problem, and furthermore, it's always described as a black and brown problem. And that is definitely wrong, because that's not what the stats are telling us. The stats are saying it is a much wider, nationwide issue. It is affecting all ethnicities, not just black and brown. And the point is that really, like, it's driving home is that the areas where funding in those areas for youth services have been declined, though we're seeing a spike in crime.
Of course, of course that's gonna happen.
Where are these youths getting the knives from, though?
No, bro. So listen,
buying them.
I'm saying in general.
Buying them from where?
Bro, there's no restrictions.
Tell a lie, because I could buy a knife on Amazon now, innit?
There's loopholes in the system. Like, for example, now, obviously back in the days when we were 13, 14, I've been stabbed when I was 13. I got stabbed in my knee. I was in and around the wrong crowd of people, and my mum and dad always used to tell me to avoid chilling with these people. And it was kind of like, well, they're my friends, they're my brothers, etc. And it's kind of like then being in and amongst it, and then being stabbed, thinking, oh, I don't ever want to feel this pain again.
Yeah.
I remember seeing my mum's reaction, like, brother, it was so emotional, like just seeing her burst into tears, and whereas all my brothers and my guys weren't there, you know? So it's kind of like, who's gonna be there for you is your mum and dad and your sisters and brothers that are there crying for you and waiting for the police to come in the ambulance. So it's kind of like putting it into perspective. I feel like it sounds crazy, but I was lucky to have that experience because it made me, you know what I mean, get away from that. So I feel like it wasn't life-threatening. Of course, it was just my knee, but it was like something that made me realize if I now stay on this path, it could really go left for me. But I feel like I said, with the knife stuff, there's loopholes in the system, because when we were younger, there was just like maybe like a 3-4 inch blade and stuff. Now there's things called zombie knives, ZKs. I'm sure you've heard of that. About them. Do you know what the zombie knives are?
Yeah. That's what the big campaign for me is, to try and get the zombie knives, the machetes, the samurais basically banned. So, you know, there's a whole distribution chain as how you can get them. Someone has got a warehouse somewhere where they're sitting there. Someone puts an order on the web. Someone picks it up in a delivery car or the Royal Mail and delivers it to someone, all right? And that whole chain, I need to disrupt it, because I feel like, you know, we can't stop gang violence. We're never going to understand it. The government's never going to understand it. The police are never going to understand that. But the actual delivering of knives, that's a commerce. That's a black and white commerce. And I feel like, all right, symbolically, if this country says, listen, we have no tolerance for these knives because there's no place for them. It's not like man's is gardening. You know what I mean? Like, why do you have a samurai? You're not in martial arts. And a zombie knife, you've seen these things.
Yeah, bro, they're
humongous. And obviously, listen, like I say, you know, I'm not here to preach. My thing is we've got to raise awareness. There's a youth somewhere with a zombie knife that's bigger than his leg.
Yeah.
And he's carrying it because of power or protection. Power to be like, yo, I'm the man. No one's taking it from me, all right? Or, bro, what if they get me and I haven't got nothing on me?
Yeah. So, and I want to touch on that, because I feel like it's very easy to be sat here and saying to these kids, of course, like, you need to drop the knife, drop the weapons, etc. But I feel like, I'm sure you've seen that video clip that went viral recently about the kid that was in a shop, chicken shop. If you don't understand, I'll show you after. Yeah. He was in a chicken shop. He was with, I think, somebody, and he's just there chilling, and you see that on the camera, there's two guys walking in the chicken shop with a knife, right? He's now turned around, and then he's startled because he's seen them coming inside the shop with a knife. They've got
so he's just ordering a munch.
He's ordering a munch.
Have walked in,
two guys have walked in. He's now turned around and seen the guys. they've got these ZK big zombie knife flipping machetes, and then he's drawn his one out. So as he's drawn his one out, they've now been startled by the fact that they've got these knives as well. So it's just like kind of standstill. They had these stools. They're just throwing at each other, and then these two have decided to run away. That guy, that kid now in the shop, if he didn't have a knife on him, let's be honest, like it would have probably been morbid and he would have died. You know what I mean? Or been stabbed at least. It would have been bad. So it's kind of like, how are you now going to tell this kid that saved himself by having a knife?
Yeah.
Oh, drop your weapons.
So then what do we do, bro?
So hence the reason, it's a question, of course. Yeah. And there's no answers to it because at the end of the day, government don't know what to do. You know what I mean? Let's be honest. Like you said yourself about the fact that there's been an increase in crime when you've decreased the community centres. And when I was growing up, I had community centres. Yeah. And I feel like a lot of kids were the reason they're not on the road life now is because of the fact that we could play ping pong, we could play football. There was like people that were older than us in their 30s and 40s telling us not to do this because they've been to prison. And generally that actually helped us a lot. In my opinion, it definitely helped me as well. But it's kind of like, but now they're deciding to lower the funding and what do you expecting to happen?
What choices
like, what are they going to do? Do you know what I mean?
You know, you got these youths and if a youth centre, they got 2 adults that run that youth centre and that's an adult that can talk to them on a level, not a parent, not a teacher, but someone that's like, yeah, come in my youth. Oh, you got beef with him, man. Just squash that. Don't worry about that, blah, blah, blah.
And they end up being friends, yeah.
Give you a perspective. That person right there, that salary that you're giving that person to be there 24 hours to these kids is worth its weight in gold because these kids need the mentor. So if you cut the services, look, it's not the question is like, oh, well, our council haven't got money for this, that, and the other, so we have to make cuts somewhere. Well, if you cut those services, then you're literally perpetuating a bigger problem because you're also spending money on the police when they come and deal with a stabbing. A paramedic, you're spending on a hospital bed, you're spending, the whole gamut costs more money than the salary of 2 youth workers.
Wow, that's deep. I didn't even look at that.
Yeah. No, but so for real, it's
I didn't look at it like that.
Because I've heard that argument, oh, well, there's a lot of cuts, where are we supposed to get the money from? Well, just think about, can you afford not to? Can you afford not to? Because if crime's going up and it costs you this much money for crime prevention, police, all the services that taxpayers pay, and you did the math, if you just put a bit more money in the youth services, you might save that money. You get?
And save lives at the end of the day.
Save lives.
I mean, I feel like the main problem as well for me would be the fact that it's so easy to get a knife. Yeah, that's the main issue. It's like I ordered one off Amazon recently, right? Because obviously I want to start to get into my like cooking bag, right? So I've ordered like these big knives, of course, whatever. And all Amazon said to me was, "Are you?" Because they said, "What's your age?" I said, "I'm 27." All right, thank you, mate.
Enough.
And they just gave it to me, bro. It's like, of course, I know what I'm gonna do with a knife. You know, I'm making food, brother. But it's kind of like, it's very unsettling that I could just get a knife that easy. Because imagine somebody that's 16, 17, and they're thinking, "I'm gonna order a knife of Amazon." And it just comes to them, you know? You can just fake an age. It's like there needs to be restrictions.
Kitchen knives are one thing, but the zombie knives are another thing. And the thing is, I think the tech companies have to also sit at the table about how they can help intervene. Because if I say the word knife now in front of my phone, guaranteed somewhere in my timeline, I'm going to see a knife, something's going to happen, knife crime's going to come up.
That happens.
That is an algorithm that's not helping the situation. To your point earlier about social media, like amplifying the situation, it's like, you can get advertised on your phone a knife, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's crazy.
And if you're 12 and your mum and dad got your iPhone 15 for Christmas, that's your portal to it straight away. Yeah. How do that man tried for me, I'm gonna try and get this knife. Obviously, tech companies could help that. And I think the government need to apply pressure on the tech companies, on the manufacturers, on the whole loophole and be like, all right, can't get these into the, if it's a zombie knife, we don't need it in this country. When they had those dogs, I think it was like the XL bully dog.
Yes.
They're banned now, no?
Yeah.
How quickly they did that?
Banned it in 6 months.
Yeah.
Oh, I get you, man.
As in,
no, I get the point. I get the point you lot are making. I get the point.
Exactly. Because controversial. I don't want to be cancelled, but the truth is, this is a animal pet loving country. Yeah. Okay, our we're very conscious of animals and pets and dogs. You know what I'm saying? It's like in television and film, if there's a dog that dies, most people switch off quick. They're like, oh, no, I'm not interested in that, right? That's how conscious we are. We love our animals. And that's why I suspect that when the bully dog came over and it was biting people and biting children and da-da-da-da-da, it was right at the consciousness of the parliament, the MPs got it through very quickly. When it comes to knife crime, it's kind of like, it's a community problem, it's a black problem, it's a poor problem. It's like, it's not at the consciousness where people are going, okay,